Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Think Business Live. I'm looking forward to talking with Vince Shorb. Vince, it's great to connect with you. You're the CEO for the last almost 18 years of the National Financial Educators Council. I want to read a little bio on this. One of the country's leading advocates for promoting financial literacy and a thought leader in teaching and scaling financial education programming. This is so important. I've really been looking forward to this interview because as a business coach, as a father, as somebody who also, on top of my business coaching business, has another business coaching platform called Launch 3 for 18 to 26-year-olds. What I hear so much is, especially from the younger generation in the Launch 3 community, is we want to learn about financial literacy. It is so important. And so I thought we could kind of get started and talk about where do most people get stuck when it comes to financial literacy. If you had to look at we're going to dive into a lot, but where's that one area that they get the most stuck?
I think it's really just the fact they get behind the eight ball early. That's really the key thing.
Yeah.
And by getting behind the eight ball early, they connect this negative association with money. There's pain associated with money, and it puts them off from wanting to learn or face facts. I remember when I was in college and coming out of high school and college and getting into credit card debt, I didn't want to open the credit card bills, right? I was always interested in money, but I did not want to do that. When investments are good, I want to open the statements. So I think it's the fact that people get behind, they feel this pressure, and then they feel like they have to catch up. When if we can catch them early and simplify this thing, it makes life a lot easier for them.
Yeah, and what I love about what you're talking about, Vince, is it's educating them, right? A lot of times people don't know. I remember when I graduated college, I got something sent in the mail, I signed it, and I got a credit card. And at that I was really young, and the balance was huge. Thankfully, I had my parents to kind of educate me on things, but many people aren't having those conversations, and so I think what I'm hearing you say is one way to get unstuck is to commit to wanting to be open and finding the places to be educated, right? Which is where you come in. Let's talk about, let's go back to the beginning a little bit. You've been doing this for almost 18 years as the CEO of the National Financial Educators Council, and really a financial literacy education advocate. So rewind, I want to start at the beginning of your story, right? I believe that a lot of times we coach our pain, right? We teach our pain. And so the son is like, all right, so how did you fall into this?
Yeah, I always had interest in money, early investing, and had some success, had some mistakes, right? So I got into financial services to help people to make money. And what I realized is that over the 15 years in financial services, most people were making the same mistakes that I made. And it just put people in a position where they were struggling in life. Money has an overflow effect that impacts many areas of our life, not just our pocketbook. And so I want to do something to help. And really my focus when I started this company going 18, 19 years ago was to help youth, help them proactively avoid problems so they don't get into problems like I was dealing with the adults. And that's where we started. And we started putting on events, doing, workshops. I was doing a lot of personal coaching as well during those years. And over time, what happened is people started to come to us because we're doing these big events, 1,000+ people shows with celebrities. And they said, hey, we want to use your materials. So about 3, 4, 5 years, we transitioned from personally doing that. I was flying around the country, living in hotels, right, doing these events. And we transitioned to empowering educators and coaches to bring financial education and coaching services into their local communities so that they can establish a presence and help those people that they know and they connect with and they have relationships with to engage them toward working toward better financial wellness. And that's where our shift came, and that's where we're at today.
I love it. Let's talk about financial wellness, because that can be defined differently by multiple different people. And not one is bad, not one is good. I'm not suggesting that, but
Yeah.
when it comes to wellness, how do you help people determine what their level of wellness is, right? So I just want to get a little bit granular on that, because to me, when I hear that, it's about the life I want is X, so I can reverse engineer the wellness I need to be in front of and forecast out today, and keep myself, like you said, almost ahead of real time when it comes to some of these things. So how do you do that with
I like
people
how
that you're
you
coaching?
defined it. So I just want to give an opposite example of working down the hierarchy of needs. Every human has basic needs. So you
Sure,
started from the
sure, sure,
top,
sure.
which we do as well as coaches. But I also like to look at it from the bottom. Hey, is our security needs met? Do we have food? Do we have shelter? Do we have the basic necessities for life? From there, hey, do we have self-esteem? Do we have this love and belonging? Can we fulfill those? And without money, people say, oh, money, there's a lot of things in life that are free. Well, even going to the beach isn't free. Even having relationships or dating isn't free, or being in position to, not work three jobs and find time for nurturing family relationships. That takes time, effort, and money. So really, if we look at the hierarchy of needs that every human faces, finance is at the root of most things that are impacting their life. And I think, we can take that top down approach as well and orchestrate their life and build it backwards, which I encourage people to do as well. But again, I think the base needs of every human comes down to money as well.
Yeah, let's talk about money. Let's talk about the base need of money. Let's talk about the mindset of money, right? So, like you said earlier, if you feel like you start behind the eight ball, you have this negative, vibe when it comes to money. Anybody who gets into begins using the credit card and falls behind on their credit card, it's always so interesting. You get something, in any credit card statement, it says, well, if you pay this amount, it'll take you 19 years to pay it off, right? Um, so let's just talk about the mindset of money, right? Self-worth, deserving money, deserving maybe more money than your parents made, and not being held back by that, not owning other people's negative vibe on money and putting it on yourself. How does somebody, when you coach them, how do you begin to shift their awareness and perception of money and what can flow easily to them?
Yeah, every person is different. Everybody's motivated by different things. I think as a coach, and as you know, as a coach, it's find out what their key motivators are. What is it? Is it, hey, making sure your family's taken care of? Is it making sure that you can, live a certain lifestyle? Is it, this end goal that you have for retiring? So what are those key motivators, and what are those key pain points? And, I don't actively coach now, but our coaches that we train, we like to leverage the pain and pleasure to help create reasons for people to take action. A lot of times we'll see early in a coaching relationship where there's a lot of massive action taking place. They're motivated, they paid, they're starting to learn, they're starting to implement things. And then sometimes life gets in the way and they stall. So we have to use these pain and pleasure. Just that's one technique, but that pain and pleasure motivators to remind them of the reasons that they started that in the first place. And there are going to be ups and downs, and to push through those down times. And what we find over time is when we can have a series of wins in a row, credit card balance is going down, credit scores going up, savings is going up, then
Yeah.
people are getting more self-motivated, and we see some momentum, and that momentum is key to action.
So you talked about, thank you for that. You talked about, the youth and, and some of they're seeing some of the wins. I was sharing with you, I have a coaching platform for 18 to 26-year-olds.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give them? And you know what? Actually, we're going to do this in a mini business course.
Awesome.
Right.
Sounds like
So
fun.
Vince Shorb, right. Vince Shorb, CEO, National Financial Educators Council, financial literacy education advocate. We're going to do three things that every 18 to 26-year-old Well, hold on. Hold on. All right. Three things that every 18 to 26-year-old needs to know about money to never fall behind the eight ball and always be ahead of real time. Number one.
Avoid common pitfalls. You know what they are: debt, credit problems, messing up your rental history, messing up anything in your finances. Avoid major problems. That would be the first thing I would suggest.
And when you say avoid major problems, which means give an example, pay your rent on time, put it in your calendar to make sure you do that. What's a system to make sure that they do that for one thing?
Yes, systemization is great of all our finances, automated bill pay to protect your credit, making sure you're not getting too deep into student loan debt, avoiding credit card debt, continuing to work while you're going through school so that you're paying, you're not getting behind on your debt load, and just the basics. If you're out there, 18 to 26-year-olds, read about what the common 25-year-old is experiencing out there today and where their financial position is, and talk to them. If you have older brothers, mentors, or people that you know that are older, hey, well, where are we at financially? What happened? What would you suggest that I avoid? That would give you a good starting point. But again, I
Yeah.
think the biggest one: student loan debt, credit card debt, and just mistakes with credit, which can be easily avoided.
All right, good. All right, number two, second thing that they should be in front of.
Get in the habit of working early and often. That's our life, is work. We're in this ivory tower with school, right? And oftentimes they don't teach you anything relevant to the real world. Just thinking back to my schooling, high school, college, I maybe used 10% of what I learned.
Yeah.
The rest was a complete waste of time. It's more signaling. What signaling is proof that you can complete something, but it really
Yeah.
has nothing to do with work. So when you're in high school, when you're in college, work and explore different careers and things that you like. When you're in law school, you're doing things that you'll never do as a lawyer. So you need to explore and see if that's even a path you want to go down. So getting in the habit of working, being a good, employee, and really looking at the company's bottom line and how can I serve this company the best. I think that's a great way to start to develop an entrepreneurial mindset, but also be a valued employee.
I love it. All right, and number three, something that they need to be thinking about from a financial literacy standpoint.
Start to find some investments that interest you, right? For me, my passion early on was real estate.
Yeah.
Maybe it's entrepreneurship for you. Maybe it's the stock market. Maybe it's crypto, right? Whatever it is you have an interest in, start learning now. Before you invest, I always tell people to become an expert in your space that you're investing in. Yes, you're going to have professionals. You're going to have those people that can guide you and support you, realtor, mortgage broker, whomever. But for you to be able to ask good qualified questions, you need to be at least at the same level they're at. And the beauty of today, we have information. I don't want to age myself, but back in the day, I was in the library, Dewey Decimal System, trying to find things to learn. Nowadays, you can type up on the internet. The only challenge now is you have to weed through some information and say, hey,
Yeah.
are they trying to sell me something, or is this really unbiased information that I can go off of? And find those mentors, people like you that are doing great shows on entrepreneurship and business, and listen to them on a regular basis. Today you can get a better education on the internet than in college,
Yeah.
by far.
Yeah.
So find those people that you think are, hey, these are great mentors or people I can learn from. This might be a fourth tip. Sorry, I didn't mean to break the
Oh, it's
three
all right.
rule, but
Yeah, no, do it up. Give it up.
find those mentors, those people you can learn from. I think teachers, mentors are often overlooked. I think as after going through, 12, 15, 18 years of school, you kind of, are like, oh, I don't want to talk to teachers. They just give me bad grades. But really, teachers and mentors in your life can really supercharge where you're going. I still have them. I use them today. It benefits my business and me personally. And I suggest people find those coaches, those mentors, those people that can really help and guide them and provide them a second set of eyes on an issue, and also encouragement toward the future.
I love it. All right. I love it, Vince. This was a great mini business course on financial literacy. Thank you so much. All right, let's talk about mentorship a little bit more. Um, the power of mentorship, I think a lot of times is overlooked because mentorship starts kind of, at the kitchen table, right? It starts at home. It starts with family. It starts with friends. It starts with, expanding your network and reaching out and asking people questions and bringing to the table something, in today's world, an 18-year-old can teach a 50-year-old and vice versa. It's a two-way street. And so talk a little bit about, but I want to kind of talk about mentorship where it starts kind of in the home, especially about financial literacy. And so for every parent listening right now, what is what's the responsibility to begin and open up the conversation when it comes to financial literacy? And regardless if the family is of means or in debt, right? It doesn't matter because I think sometimes people put a lot of shame to when they are in a bad financial situation. But really, I'm suggesting that if people are listening to this, you put the shame on the sidelines. And what are the conversations that people should be having to grow not only their education, but everyone at the table's education and perception of money?
Yeah, and I know parents have a lot on their plate these days, and I hate to put another thing on your plate, but you're ultimately responsible for your kid learning about money. Schools absolutely fail at it. There's nobody else that does it. Colleges don't do it. You're the last line of defense. If we look at tribal, go back 500, 1,000, even all the way back through history, parents always taught their kids the ability to survive. That's gone by the wayside. That doesn't occur anymore. So parents, you need to start teaching your kids about money. I think a great way is through a chore system where they're working. So they're associating work with earning money. That way they're able to do a few things. I say all kids should be contributing to household bills, home, and it can get more complex. When they're little, it might be home and car so they can visually see. When they're teenagers, they should be contributing toward everything that they use, electric, phone, everything. So you can pay them a little more because you're getting some money back. They should also be buying their own things. So instead of them just bugging you at the store, hey, I want this, throwing a fit, you can say, hey, do you have the money for that? Hey, you wanted this teddy bear, but now you want to buy this candy. Do you still want this candy or do you want to continue to save for this teddy bear? So it's helping them develop this delayed gratification muscle, in addition saving for the long term. And I think, through even holidays and gift giving times where, you can have loved ones give to a long-term savings plan as opposed to just some random toy that's going to go in the trash. So
Yeah.
parents, you can do a lot and it's fun. There's teachable moments. When you go to the store, you're comparison shopping, you can explain to your kids what you do. Maybe you sit down with the electric bill one month. You say, hey, here's how much we paid last year at this time with this electric bill. Here's how much we're paying now. If we can all cut it down 20%, we'll have a pizza party so we can make it fun. I think using media is a great teachable moment. Hey, what's this media trying to convince you of? Why are they advertising to you? What are they making you feel, right? So helping them evaluate things. So we can use a lot of teachable moments as parents. Of course, you can always have the sit downs in
Sure.
education sessions, more homeschool, or you can send them to mini classes and different things that people are doing in the area. But really, it's your responsibility to make sure that they are competent and you're raising, kids that can be self-sufficient and contributing members of society.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Let's do a quick speed round. Um, a book that's had the biggest impact on you or a TED Talk.
I would say that just recently I read 10X, so I think that just is just helping me understand the ability to grow at scale, and just the skills that are needed behind that.
Yeah. I'll throw out a book that I loved, which is The Psychology of Money. It's a
Brian
great
Tracy, yeah.
book. Yeah. Um, um, uh, best piece of wisdom you've ever received.
I would say, hey, I don't know if it's a exact quote, but it's, hey, to work hard, things will happen. Keep pushing, don't stop. And I think that's been a basis of my life. Hey, continuing the focus to work hard and contribute.
Finish this sentence. One thing everybody can do today to be more financially independent is.
Take one action step. We often feel overwhelmed. Take that one thing, what's most important and urgent, and address that first.
Vince, tell everybody how to connect with you, where they can learn more about you, and who your ideal clients are.
Yeah, they can go to financialeducatorscouncil.org, financialeducatorscouncil.org. If you want to talk to me personally, at LinkedIn at Vince Shorb, Shorb. And we really work with anybody passionate about bringing financial wellness to their community. We work with a range of people. It could be a financial advisor, entrepreneur, nonprofit, faith-based. So it's a broad group of people that have one common interest of helping people in their community work toward better financial wellness. And if that's you, or if you're an advocate or want to bring programming there, or just are passionate about promoting financial literacy because you wish you had it, love to connect with you.
I love it. I love it. Vince, thank you for the work that you do to bring more financial literacy into the world. It's so important, and I think that community. We talk a lot about money on this show, right? Making money, being philanthropic with your money, and being a conscious capitalist in many ways, right? Like the more money you make, the more people you can help. And for those of you, who Vince can help, or areas where he can help, please reach out to him. Vince, I appreciate your insights on all of the things that we need to look at financial literacy, especially kind of starting in the home, and all of us taking responsibility to be ahead of real time and raise our level of frequency when it comes to money. So thank you so much. I think community, you can reach Vince. Give me your website one more time, Vince.
financialeducatorscouncil.org.
All right. And you can reach me at jondwoskin.com. Vince, stay on. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you back.
Thanks, Jon.